After being delayed, the Marvel Stat Balance patch just dropped on us Wednesday morning, and I did not have these updates in advance. This is hopefully a one-shot balance review track. Thank you for everybody that's here live on Twitch while we record this. We kick things off by noting there's only a handful of changes in this patch, but we expect them to be fairly impactful and perhaps even require follow-up OTA next week. Let's dive in, starting with a change that I am super excited to see. ALIOTH is getting a new stat line and text box. Now a 6/8 with the on reveal. Remove the text of all unrevealed enemy cards here. Second in our comments, since release, ALIOTH has been an important but polarizing card in the Marvel stat metagame. Citation needed. It's been hugely effective in creating more coin flips on turn 6, but the in-game effect can also be really frustrating. Losing your cards completely, no questions asked, is very powerful. We're sensitive to that, so as we've monitored ALIOTH, we've thought about other ways we could implement the card. With the turn 6 metagame fairly settled these days, it felt like the time was ripe to freshen up the purple cloud with a new effect. Our goal here is to keep a similar role, but introduce more meaningful counterplay to the effect. We expect the biggest difference will happen with stuff like Magneto still being able to defeat ALIOTH either way. So, yeah. Obviously, stat sticks are in. Red Hulk obviously just released, very good against ALIOTH. Magneto's a good call out. She-Hulk, other decks that like to play their hand out with stats specifically on the last turn will be good. I like that this ALIOTH change still allows it to counter Hela and Shang-Chi and stuff like that, but it gives you an avenue of you can play numbers, right? Like, this is very similar to me. It's reminiscent of the Galactus change in a way, right? Where they've redesigned the cards so the actual numbers that you're playing matter. They're making it so a core part of Marvel Stat, putting numbers on the board, is a meaningful thing to do, but this is still good against cards that are looking to combo, right? ALIOTH is kind of an anti-combo card. It tags Hela, it tags Living Tribunal or Onslaught or Iron Man, stuff like that. It's still good against Hitmonkey, but things like She-Hulk are good into it now. Surfer, it's good against Blob. So there's still a ton of cards that are good and cards that are not so good that ALIOTH is good into. But it's not just this catch-all turn 6 anymore. Our next change, chat, impactful changes. ZABU, holy god, this paragraph. ZABU is going from an ongoing, your 4-cost cards cost 1 less, to 2/3 on reveal. Until the end of your next turn, your 4-cost cards cost 1 less. I was going to say I'm going to give my opinion before I read this, but starting here, we're aware that ZABU is taking a huge hit. Yeah, it is. I am very surprised they are not returning it to... I feel like they could return it to -2 cost. But hear us out. Okay, let's hear them out before I say more. In the last year, the game has shifted to revolve more and more around ZABU's interaction with 4-cost cards and their matchup. Right now, ZABU is probably at an all-time low, but the impact is still very real, and 4-cost cards that don't have strong synergy with ZABU are at a disadvantage. We've been analyzing the data to better understand exactly what this has done to the metagame and what we might want to adjust, but ZABU's been clouding those measures. So we've decided to do something unusual here and temporarily rework this card into a state that we believe is weak enough to shift away from 4 costs to perform. We don't think that White Queen is suddenly going to be good or anything. We expect 4-cost cards as a group to get weaker, and decks that can still cheat using cards like Ravoda, Hope, and Wave to be stronger as well. We may account for that a little with subsequent OTAs, but we're also expecting to make a larger set of impactful changes this year. So this change is to help us vet that work, and we also don't expect ZABU to remain in this state permanently. So that's it. So basically what this paragraph is saying is they don't have a good baseline on how good or bad 4 energy cards are that don't synergize with ZABU. So they're basically putting ZABU in a deterministic timeout for a little while so they can collect information on it. Yeah, I think part of this is the Shang problem. I think this, like, we talk about part of the issue with Shang is ZABU makes Shang effectively be a 3.5 energy card. So this is them basically acknowledging what I've said before, which is that, like, the Shang problem's got a lot going on, and this is kind of a soft ban, so they can see how things shake out without ongoing ZABU, and then make adjustments, and then maybe make ZABU ongoing again in the future. Yeah, so that's an interesting perspective. And honestly, like, ZABU's a Series 4 card. It's not like anybody just bought it or just opened resources in mass. So I think giving it a timeout to let them sculpt the format in a different way makes a lot of sense. Our next change is another lovely... This is like... Chat, I've been feeling a little bit left out when it comes to second dinner balance lately, like I've been talking about. This is like... the ode to Jeff Hoagland balance patch. Fucking Sandman is the next one on the chopping block. A 5/4 ongoing previously. Now a 5/7 with the on-reveal players can only play 1 card next turn. Like Mobius, Luke Cage, and Professor X, Sandman is the kind of tech card we want to be careful with. If Sandman is too popular, Marvel Snap is a less fun game due to the permanence of that ongoing effect. So we deliberately aim to make Sandman more niche. However, the low power necessary for that balance has often made it so that Sandman is too weak to consider playing, even in metagames where the effect would be strong. We're trying a different tact tier and switching to a temporary effect so that can pack more power so it doesn't warp the metagame, playing more as a turn 5 tech card rather than a turn 4 build around. I think this is good. So previously, people that didn't understand or didn't want to admit what happened with Sandman is people often described Sandman as this, when in reality, it was a prison card that you ramped into. And this effect, making it so you have the ability to play it as a reasonable... It's a tech card now. Yeah, it's similar to something like... And I like that they made Leech more narrow and specific. They made Sandman more narrow and specific. I think that's good. That's a good change. War Machine still offers counterplay to this. Is very noteworthy. All right, Lady Deathstrike is the next one here. What do we got? Destroy. We're now a 5/7. Destroy each card here with 3 or less power. Interesting. This change looks fairly similar to Sandman, but it's different in some nuanced ways. Lady Deathstrike was built around scaling with power to provide an appealing goal for players, but that hasn't worked out. When Deathstrike is good, it's often because the base effect is useful, and those times were few and far between. Most of the time, the card is simply weak, and investing in a buff is a trap. We've decided to trade in the dream here, i.e. making it huge and blowing everything up, with the goal of creating a more consistently useful cards that players have to fear more meaningfully and not exclusively in decks that do some gimmicks with her. That's interesting. I agree that Old Lady Deathstrike just generically wasn't a very good card. This is a new design that, like, one, it's still good against Dracula. Two, it clears out hooded stuff. There's probably some meaningful things she hits in the format. I don't know. Nothing's jumping out at me immediately, but I also don't think that she's necessarily, like, I don't think she was a great card before, and this has gotta be an upgrade on average, yeah? Still kills Iron Man. We're loosening the restriction on Strong Guy's buff. +6 power if your hand has one or fewer cards in it. Sweet. The last numbers change we made was an experiment to see if we could get Strong Guy somewhere, but ultimately combining poorly with both Apocalypse and your normal draw each turn is proven too heavy. Let's see how it goes. Oh, Apocalypse is a good call out here. So this is them giving discard Apocalypse a new card. And the noteworthy thing, we've tried a bunch of Strong Guy decks, and I can't tell you the number of times that I had a Strong Guy and then, like, a random location hosed you with one card. So this is a very, very welcome change. Shuffle the base costs of all cards in your deck that started there. They're just adding the word base. So Shadow King and Pixie are not functional changes. They're just wording updates. Man, this, what do the kids say? This balance change is a bop. It's good. We got audio and visual effects on a handful of cards that were missing it. We've got some changes to a new section of the shop. Players can find cosmetics that aren't variants for sale on rotation. Expect to find avatars and emotes available for gold. I fully expect people to complain about the price. Fast upgrade section has been renamed to bonus boosters. It works the same as before. Cool. All right. This is easily the biggest slate of changes to meaningful metagame cards plus Lady Deathstrike and Strong Guy that we've seen in fucking forever. Like, it's real good, gamers. It's real good. Whole new world. Do 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 do. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you tap the like button on this. If you're currently watching live on Twitch, you should go watch it once I upload it to YouTube and it publishes. All right.